Hey everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make a hardcover post-it note cover. Okay, so this is similar to the notepad covers that I've done. It's just scaled down in size, so it'll fit a 3x3 post-it note stack. Okay, so the supplies that you'll need are some chipboard. I like the medium weight graphics chipboard, and you need to cut 2 pieces at 3.5 inches square, a post-it notepad, of course, and then I like to use, this is the Gaffer Power bookbinding tape, and I get it from Amazon. Then you'll need some of the Zig two-way glue, the large size, and some metal book corners, along with some glue dots. And these are the mini pens from Pentel. You'll also need some ribbon. I like Grosgrain ribbon, and this is 1/8, or you could also go 1/4. And then some shimmer trim, and this is 1/2 inch. You could also use some glitter paper or 1/2 inch ribbon. And then you'll need a decent weight of patterned paper. This is Closetomyheart's Let's Go Anywhere collection, and I just chose a pattern that I liked for the front cover. And then you want to cut 2 pieces at 4.5 inches tall by 4 inches. And you'll notice that I cut mine in squares, but there's you'll see there's extra once I start covering my chipboard, so you can really cut it at 4.5 inches tall by 4.5 inches or 4 inches wide. Okay, so I'm just looking at my covers and which way they kind of have a certain bend or hand to them. So I like a better finished corner. So I'm just looking at the way that I want them to be, and then pay attention to the patterns on the front. And you'll want to glue it down with one end butted to the left side. Okay, so we're doing the front cover right now. And then you just cover that chipboard with that Zig glue. You'll also want a bone folder. So I'm just placing the chipboard down on that paper, butting it up against the edge. And then you've got extra on the side. And then on that right side there, that's where the extra is. If you cut it at 4 inches, you won't have quite so much hangover there, and you'll be able to miter your corners better. So what I'm doing right now, it's called mitering a corner, and it gives you a nice finished corner. Just bend that corner in at a diagonal and then glue it down. And it really helps to have your bone folder to kind of press those corners and pieces down and get them glued. And then go ahead and do the other corner. And then once that's glued down, you'll want to take one side. It doesn't matter which you start with, but take the entire thing and roll it towards you. You don't want to fold the paper in because you don't want a crease. You want a nice rolled edge. So just hold it up against your mat and then roll it towards you. Add a little glue and then glue it down. So I'm rolling it and then gluing it. And that way you get those nice rolled edges. And let's make sure that's glued down. And then roll the edge. And then we'll go ahead and glue that down. So I'm going to do this for the second one. I'll speed the video up just a little bit. It's the same process, but I want to keep it in there so that you can see it again. Okay, so that's the front cover. And pay attention when you're setting up your back cover. If you have a patterned paper that has a direction, you really need to pay attention to which way the because otherwise it could wind up upside down when you're finished. So I'm setting this up the way that it's going to go with the back cover, and then checking which direction I want my paper to go and how it's going to be butted up against one edge. And this time I'm going to put the paper down just so I'm sure. And then quickly, while the glue is still wet, you can shift it so that it's even between the top and the bottom. And smooth it out with your bone folder so you get a nice bond with that paper on the chipboard. And then you can start mitering the corners. So I'll go ahead and start speeding this up just a little bit, but you'll still be able to see the whole process. So we're bending that corner in on a diagonal, press everything down, add some glue, make sure you get a good bond there. And then just roll your side in. Roll it towards you, add some glue, and then do it again. So from start to finish, to make one of these notebooks, it takes about a half an hour. And to cut the chipboard, I like to use a guillotine trimmer. I'll put a link in the description below. Okay, so that's how the cover is going to look. And then I'll bring in the Scaffer Power bookbinding tape. And I'm going to cut off a piece that's about 5.5 inches. Okay, so you're going to take that piece of tape and you're going to lay it down. I like to use my Versamat. You want to have a gap in between the covers to accommodate that post-it note pad. Okay, so I'm going to lay the tape down on my Versamat, make sure it's straight, and then you want to place the covers with a gap in between. Place the covers down on the bookbinding tape. Make sure that they're even from side to side, and that you've got that gap in between. Now, if your bookbinding tape isn't completely straight, there's a fix for that, so don't worry. You just want to have a nice gap in between, and roughly the two covers will line up with the tape lining up evenly. Okay, so here's your fix if you don't get your tape on exactly straight. You're going to use some shimmer trim. Okay, so you can cut anywhere from 5.5 to 6 inches, and you need 2 pieces. And this is self-adhesive. So you peel off that coating and then just line up the side of your book cover, make sure that's straight, and then you can line up your shimmer trim. And I like to use those lines on my Versamat to make sure that the shimmer trim is straight. So the bookbinding tape might not be straight, but if you lay that shimmer trim down straight, then it should just fix everything. Okay, so just fold those over the edge. Now we're going to add our pen. All right, so I'm going to use some 1/8 of an inch Grosgrain ribbon. This is an older product from Close to My Heart. You can use up to 1/4 inch. And I've got 2 pieces and roughly about 3 inches, 3.5 inches. So I'm going to fold that ribbon over and secure it with a glue dot. So I'm going to fold it around the pen. You don't want it to be super tight because you want to be able to slide the pen in and out of that loop. And then you want to secure the loop to your cover. Okay, so using another glue dot there. And again, you want to leave enough room so that you can slide that pen in and out. It's kind of a happy medium. You want it tight enough so your pen's not flopping around and it'll stay in there, but you don't want it too tight where it's fussy and difficult to get your pen in and out. And you can always check it, and then if it isn't quite right, you can adjust things before you put that paper on the inside of the cover. So you have a chance to make sure you've got it, you've got a comfortable fit there. And then when you put that second ribbon down on the back cover, make sure that the two are stacked and not right on top of each other, so that when you close it, you have one loop on top of the second loop, so that you can thread your pen through, and the front cover will attach to the back cover. Okay, now I'm going to cut the inside paper, and this is roughly 3 3/8 by about 7.5. You might have to make some adjustments. It really depends on how far apart the two covers are and how big the gap is when you put your covers down on that tape. So I found that if you have about 3/4 of an inch in between your covers, that 7.5 inches is just fine. And it should work. If your covers are a little bit closer together, you can always trim off just a little bit off the edge. Okay, so then you place your paper down after you've added glue to it, and start by pressing it into the middle. You want it to bond with that bookbinding tape, and then press out and smooth everything down with your bone folder. You've got a lot of bumps and lumps underneath that. You've got your shimmer trim, you've got your ribbon, so make sure that that inside cover bonds securely with everything. All right. Now we can add some metal corners to your book cover, and this way they won't get too beat up. Okay, so you just start by bending the metal. It's soft metal, and just bend it out just a little bit so that you've got a bigger gap, and you can slide it over all those layers of paper. And the goal is to capture that corner of that green paper, the inside cover, and make sure that the metal corner covers that. And then just hammer it down. And it should stay put. If you hammer it hard enough, it should stay put on that cover, on that corner. All right, so we'll skip ahead to the last corner. And sometimes if you bang it on the edge there, it'll really get into that corner and secure. Okay, now we can add our Post-it note. So I'm going to use some score tape, and I'm just going to add several strips of score tape. So when your Post-it note pad is all done, you can just replace it with another one. So just add that double-sided tape, and then place your Post-it note pad inside the back cover. Okay, and then to close it, you add your pen. But first, let's make the pen a little fancy. So the barrels of this pen, they're kind of smoky but clear. So if you unscrew the ink out, then you can slide a little roll of paper in it. So it's about 1.5 inches by 1, and just roll up that paper and put it in the tube, and then put your ink in the center and screw it back on, and you've got a fancy pen there. Okay, and then it will thread through, and after a while the bookbinding tape will relax a little bit, and the cover, it won't alligator just overnight. If you just let it sit, it'll loosen up, and then you've got your pen with your Post-it note pad. So I will create a list of supplies, of current supplies that you can find on Amazon for making this Post-it note cover, with links in the description below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, and then you'll be able to find all of my videos. I have several videos for other sizes, and I'll also put a playlist at the end that contains those videos. And thanks for watching.